All right, so now we'll go into our oropharynx. As we said, it communicates anteriorly to the with the oral cavity, and also has the nasopharynx above it and the laryngopharynx. But before we get into that, I wanted to show the submandibular gland, which is right under the mandible, as the name says, and secretes saliva. But interestingly, the sublingual gland also says there, and I think this is the sublingual duct. But interestingly, they both connect. I don't see this one ducting anywhere besides this duct, submandibular gland, which also has a gland going into here. Very interesting, huh? Anywho, there you are, secreting saliva. Anywho, we will go back into our oropharynx, and we could get there from our oral cavity. The tongue, how nice the tongue looks. So we have our oral cavity, and we have our oropharynx. Now I'm obstructing a wall, so I'm gonna turn around. By turning this around, okay, that didn't work. Maybe I'll bring it here. Boop. Okay. Now I can go in there. Oops. Going through the mouth. Now we're in the oropharynx of your uvula. And so the last thing we said for the nasopharynx, that it communicates with the oral cavity through the U again. Let me go out with you and just pin you here. And we go back in. The nasopharynx, as we said, where are you? Where is your label? There we go. Communicates with the oral cavity through the pharyngeal isthmus. Let me put you to the side. Now we only have one, so we don't get distracted a lot. Okay, so now we are on the oropharynx, and the oropharynx communicates with the oral cavity through the oropharyngeal isthmus. Now, what I made earlier about the pharyngeal isthmus, as in how it's right up here. Now I'm gonna make a imaginary square. Let's see if my hand will fit and what's in my way. Okay, get it out of the way. Let's make an imaginary square here. Let's imagine the square goes all the way down. Oops, my table. Then you have a square up here, there, there, there. Oh, another table or structure in real life just getting in my way. It's fine. It's fine. It's no problem at all. And you, bam. All right. Let me get this. That was a random one. Okay, so say your nasopharynx, and the top of this imaginary square that I drew, the top of it will be the pharyngeal isthmus, and that's how the nasopharynx communicates with the oral cavity, and the oropharynx communicates with the oral cavity through this space in front of the oropharynx, which is an imaginary space. You could say as the controller. What is the controller doing over there? Getting in the way. Let me put you on the ground now. God damn it. Fine. Anywho, you have your oropharyngeal isthmus, as we were saying. So the oropharynx communicates with the oral cavity through this space called the oropharyngeal isthmus. Now, where are we? So, two things that's in the oropharynx, oropharynx would be, let's go on and take out the skeletal muscle and add in the lymphatics. And this is the important piece. You have your palatine tonsils left and right, and these are in the oropharynx. And you know how she mentioned these like 100 times in the lecture? So they are in the oropharynx, and it's bordered by the palatoglossal fold and the palatopharyngeal fold, which would be here. Obviously, they're not marked, so we can't really point them out, but the palatopharyngeal fold would be on this line here, and the palatopharyngeal fold would be here. So we have a palatine and palatoglossal. Glossus means tongue, or has to do with tongue, because all the glossal things has to do with tongue. So palatoglossal would be palatoglossal tongue fold, and the palatopharyngeal pharynx fold back here. So now we have a palatine tonsil in our oropharynx, which communicates with the oral cavity through the oropharyngeal isthmus, and below it will be the laryngeal pharynx. And the mnemonic that student Dr. Gandhi helped us come up with is SPO, which is, as we said, the soft palate is here, and that would be the beginning of the oropharynx. See, it connects to the soft palate, so that was the SPO, SP, which would be soft palate, oropharynx, which is in the middle, because we're talking about the borders of it, SPOE, and the E will be the epiglottis. And this structure, let me go back here. This structure here is our epiglottis, and now I can pull that up. If I hit respiratory, get you out of the way. It's part of the respiratory gland. It should show up, and that is our epiglottis. And we all know it comes up to prevent food from going into the airway, and that is our larynx, trachea, mucosa, and all that good stuff. And this back here would be a cervical part of our esophagus, and that would be the thoracic part. So now we have our laryngeal pharynx in here, but we're still talking about the oropharynx. So we have sans P, skull, nasopharynx, soft palate, SPO, soft palate, oropharynx, epiglottis. Then we have our elk, which would be epiglottis, laryngopharynx, and the cricoid cartilage. All right, and that will conclude the oropharynx.